Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your support of the channel. We have loaded into Himmelsdorf. I'm in my Tier 8 German low premium heavy tank, and we are in a 9 and 8 battle, so a 2-tier battle. We've spawned on the southeast corner, and we are in an encounter mode. So we're headed up the hill. Pretty standard move initially. Especially on encounter, the hill is very key to victory. You can see that we have actually quite a few tanks headed down to the south. You know, sometimes you just have to figure out a way to win, and you end up winning ugly. And this is going to be an example of winning ugly. So I won't give away any of the ending here, at least initially. We're going to have a bit of a scrum up top, showing you some pretty good low hold down capability, and then a little bit of maneuver in there, as well as a few mistakes that I make as I fight up here, giving away some hit points. Of course, Artie immediately hits our guys right there. So that's actually not a very easy shot. He is down in this corner right here. So Artie players, you can position there and hit where the Uds and the 112 are. It's a very flat arc, so it's amazing that he actually nailed him, but he trashed the 112 and got a piece of the Uds as well. More examples of how ridiculous Artie is. I'm going to come up here and actually shoot into the rubble there and take a hit from the WZ. I was lazy, and see what I just did? I moved my front hull towards him. I was lazy and didn't do that on the first shot, thinking he wouldn't be able to get a shot in on me, and of course he got into the front of my fender there, the right front of my fender, so I've shifted now my armor profile to a better idea, and we'll get in here. I'm going to bounce off of the turret on that one because I take a shot right on the side of it. So I've not done a really good job so far on these guys. I've got one hit on the IS-3. We'll take him down. And it takes us a little while to get the WZ. So we're actually getting kind of torn up because of this one WZ right here. You'll notice that the Proto is coming in behind me, which I do not notice during the game. We've got a couple other guys stacked up. So there we go. Now I know they're there. And of course the 1390 is going to get 3 shots right on me. And then I snap him back. Would have been really nice if that wonky gun dispersion would have missed at least one of those, but it didn't. And now I'll just barely get this guy on the top on his hatch and take him down. So you can see the other low is pushing into the Proto. I want to go help him right there, but there's a couple other tanks there, as well as I don't know what's down below. I know a T-28 is trundled that way because our T-49 has seen him. But I'm not sure if there's anything else further down, and what I'm worried about is guys sitting kind of right here or maybe in here and shooting up onto the hill. None of them are taking too many hits, although that will change in a moment as the KV-5 and the object and such bring their guns to bear. I'm going to come over here and start working on this low. I'm lower hit points, he's 100%, so we've got to be very careful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck the front of my tank up into this rubble. He obliges and gives me a shot into his front sprocket, and he bounces on my angled tank. So I'm just going to come around. I'm only going to put just enough of my tank out. I fired first. I have a very good crew, and I figure I'll probably get that shot and get back before he can get his shot. I see the 1390, so what I do is initially I come out, I'm going to get ready to take a nice shot on that low and back up, but once I see the 1390, I don't want my front sprocket sticking out from that rubble where the 1390 can get me. And fortunately, the low's not smart enough to go forward. He continues going backwards, which affords me the angle I need to not expose to the 1390 and just get enough that I want on the low to take a shot on him. And unfortunately, the Centurion 7-1 goes out and gets wrecked by the 1390, the 251. I wasn't reloaded, so there's nothing I could do for those guys. And now we'll come around. He gets killed by the Uds, which is down below, like I was talking about earlier, so our guys are now in position and they start tearing these guys up. And we still have quite a few tanks up here. I got a JP kind of behind me on our ramp, but it's just me and the Centurion. We start working on this super. I don't want to expose myself too much to anything that might be below. I still see that T-29 trolling around, although right now he doesn't have a shot. So my buddy takes him out. We come around, I'm looking for a shot. I'm thinking, yay, I'll get this GF. Nope, someone else got it. And then, of course, the JT and the Proto are still up here. I will turn around while the Centurion goes the other way. And I make a big mistake here. I wish I would have side scraped to this corner, because as it is, I come around and I saw that guy light, so there's really no reason for that. If I had just come in here and tucked myself into this castle right here and backed out, I may have been able to bounce that guy's shot off my side armor. Not necessarily automatic, but possibly right there. and I end up eating 536, and that's important to the rest of the game. You'll see that they've got 4, we've got 6. Things are looking pretty good, but we've got the guys down below all TDs, and they've got that kind of force of the Emil, Low, and Oho that has worked up through Tank Alley altogether right there. So we're going to go ahead and push on down here. And I'm not too pleased with the Centurion 7-1 is just raging down. There is the T-28, which we noticed earlier, and I can tell by where he's positioned on the minimap that he's actually looking through that window. They've got terrible view range, so I'm hoping the Centurion 7-1 can get through without getting killed, and he does. Unknown if he was seen, though. So I don't know that. But as I'm looking at the view ranges, I'm pretty sure that T-28 can't see us, and we're having trouble now down with the TDs getting torn up. And unfortunately the 7-1 keeps pushing, and I'm not really sure what his intention here is, because playing peekaboo against that hold down T-28, who's in a very good position, is not really a great idea. He's not going to be able to get around him. I'll throw one in, thinking I can sneak one in there, just hoping it'll go through, and I probably should have loaded gold right there. And unfortunately, while we see him, he's just really tucked in there, and I bounce out off the side. I was trying to get that little front piece, and that's going to be a heck of a shot. So we both came down the wrong side of the hill, unfortunately, and I should have definitely gone off the south side because that's where all their heavies were. The hope, of course, was that we could sneak around down below and start working on them, flanking the heavies. The 7-1 manages it, somehow gets by that T-28, who I think was still kind of positioning around in there. So he has seen the 7-1, and out he comes from the hole, kind of trolling around. So I've got to go all the way up and over. I just don't have the speed to do what he did. Having made the bad decision to go north, now I've got to completely reposition, and unfortunately our tanks start losing down there, and I'm nowhere near to support. So we'll go chipmunk speed here, come around maybe looking for a shot on the Oho, but he dies, so we'll just swing around this way. I was a little bit worried about getting shot in the side right there, so that was a slightly dangerous kind of move. Bust down there, and of course now we are down to the T-28. I run into the thing there, the Centurion and me. So the TDs did an alright job to at least whittle these guys down, but that T-28 is on full health. The Centurion 7-1 and myself are both one-shots, and one-shots with HE as well, so all he has to do is hit us twice with HE and take us out if he is that smart. So we'll go fast. Alright, so the Centurion's kind of looking for him. I wasn't that pleased by that move right there. I'd wished he would stick a little bit closer to me because he's really out of position for me to support. So I'm accepting that that's where he is, and I'm headed over that way. I'm going to go ahead and go through this open courtyard right here, which again was not my favorite decision. However, for this to be truly dangerous, the T-28 would have had to have been right here on this corner, looking in this way, and I just really doubted he would be. I figured he'd probably be up around in here somewhere. He might be here on this corner looking down the road, but that would expose him back behind. He may have tucked himself back into here for now, waiting for the cap timer to go off, or he may have gone somewhere else in this area back here where he can isolate which way the threat is coming. But I expected him to be somewhere in this area right here. I was pretty sure he wouldn't be here, so I was okay with this decision at the moment. And the Centurion 7-1 finally comes back to me, which I was very happy with now that we can both support each other. With a little tracking fire and double shots into him, we have a chance of taking this guy out. Now I have to be careful here because he just goes blazing through, and I didn't want to ram him to death. That would have been ridiculous, shaving off even more hit points off the two of us. So now I'll come down this corridor, this road right here, and I'm going to check this corner, because one of the places I talked about him being is potentially looking in this window that can then look down here, or being on this corner and look down the road. So I'll come up here to this rubble on this side, and I'm going to side scrape. You can see that the 7-1's working around behind to try to outspot the T-28 and see if the T-28 is maybe somewhere sitting over here looking down through the railroad tracks. So I see through that window he's not there. So now I'm going to take a bit of a chance and cross. This is probably the most dangerous thing I did in this whole move, because if he was right here, more than likely he was going to take me right in the side and take me out. He's not there. Based on the way he was playing, though, I did not expect him to be that aggressive. I would have been surprised to see him there. He'd have killed me, but I definitely would have been surprised to have seen him there. Just taking a quick look right here, coming around. We'll be moving up forward. The 7-1 actually jumps on the cap. So this is where the winning ugly part comes in. We kind of eat our way, escape and evade kind of thing. Just moved all the way through here looking for this guy. He didn't show up in any of these spaces. He didn't show up looking down here. The Centurion moved all the way up. He's not over here. He's not up front near these trains right here. Finally, he sees him all the way in the back corner, which was sort of what I suspected, that he would be somewhere back in here based on the way he's been playing this entire game. So the Centurion 7-1 winning ugly. He jumps on the cap, and now we are just going to force him to come after us. What I do then for the winning ugly part, I'll take an initial peek just in case I can see him and shoot him as he comes around that corner before he can get his gun on, and realize he's a casemate TD. Alright, so he is inflexible. It's going to be difficult for him to take on two tanks unless he can face them down more or less in the same direction. It's going to be difficult for us to kill him because he's got so many hit points and all he needs is HE. So what I'm doing here is denying him access to the capper, the Centurion. At this position, I know he cannot get across here. He's too slow anyway, but he can't cross here and come around behind us. And I am also basically looking to my left, and I will see him if he's coming across the open area to try to get to the Centurion. If he comes this way, I'll start shooting him in the side, looking for tracks. If I can somehow track him offline so that the Centurion can kind of come around and take shots as well, I'll do that. If he ignores me and keeps going, I'll just keep shooting him in the side. If he turns towards me, the Centurion has an opportunity to pop out and take a shot through side scraping. So this is pretty much the place I want to be. And I'm going to keep moving just in case he comes around. That my turret is relatively forward, so it's possible that I can stick my rear end out and he can see it and I can't see him, and I just don't want to get popped by him. So I'm going to go out and back looking for my sixth sense to go if somehow he just gets around the corner just enough. And ideally the Centurion is just sitting there, which it looks like he is. He should not be popping out. And then I'll just every once in a while take a look. Now I could sit right there. I would have liked to have sat right there because if he came down these tracks, I'd have seen him come around this corner or seen him underneath the train and had a good idea. But I can't see that way, and I don't want him to come around behind me right here, so I've got to cover both. I do that once or twice in amongst all this, and I decide, you know what, I think the best spot is here where I can see through that window. I can see if he starts coming around me around this way, and I can also see him if he's coming down this way. Because if he starts coming down the tracks, if he comes turning around the corner and points right at me, I might get killed by him shoot me in the rear. But I don't think he's really going to do that. If he does come after the Centurion, I think he's going to go straight after the cap circle. Now I'm going to go fast because it's 4 minutes, and this guy waits for a really long time to make any kind of move. You can see we go back and forth, and I'll just go total chipmunk speed. You'll see this is winning ugly, right? I'm just doing the same thing, looking for this guy. I am the screening force. Back and forth, back and forth. There he is. And you can see that then we are at 17 seconds to cap. He started to move, saw him, and I don't have to do anything. He has to get around behind the Centurion. There's no reason for me to poke out and get killed, and what I'm doing here is just trying to proxy light if he actually gets up nice and close. Just get an idea where he is, and he just doesn't have the speed or the aggression or whatever to come up and take us out. So there you go. Winning ugly. Sometimes you just have to take the win that is presented, work the angles smartly, and you'll come up with the W. So I hope you like what you saw. If you did, make sure you follow, favorite, heart, whatever it is, and we will see you.